I don't think so. I know when Evan Russell did it, it was pretty special, but he was good. It'd have been nice to see him run out the ball he hit down the third baseline first at bat. I think he was trying to sell that it went off his foot, or I hope. I didn't ask him, and I'm glad I didn't ask him because he didn't need to come out of the game. Probably the rain there at the end cost him a foot. That would have made it fun, but as he gets older, he'll like that he did what he did tonight, but I think he'll appreciate the win more. It was a pretty good win. I think we were fortunate enough to play well. It was kind of like a DJ Khaled song is what I said to somebody in there. It was a great win, like a great song, but when that guy chimes in, it kind of ruins the song. We had a couple goofy things in that game that you'd like to erase, but overall, I think Dean will appreciate that it was a win, and again, fortunate because they're here playing us because they wanted to be in a regional last year and maybe deserved of. I am on the committee, but I don't think they'll have that issue this year. So it was a good win for our team.
What about Dean's swing allows him to have a night like tonight?
He's just strong, and then he was in the cage today, and some guys, and I jumped in on the fun. We're joking. His swing looked really good, but he doesn't look tough anymore. We were joking about, the black eye and the swelling is almost gone away. He's a handsome fella according to other people. So the swing looked good. He looks good, and he's strong. But it's, there's not a lot of extra riffraff going on there. That's something we spend a lot of time doing. Guys like Jared Dickey, KT, have worked really hard in these batting cages, especially with Coach Elander, at kind of cutting out the fat when they first get here, or the extra movements in their swing. And Dean is always, since we've inherited him, always had a very compact, repeatable, very polished swing.
Tony, when you're playing maybe a better midweek team than some others that you'll see during the course of the season tonight, go down 2-0 early, say about your team to kind of, wasn't a great start, but they really revved it up a little bit.
Yeah, bigger name, I think is fair to say. And, they threw their ace at us who, that guy's going to get plenty of outs, and he made some of our guys look foolish at times. I think our guys just did a good job of coming back, like you're talking about, but also, putting together some good at-bats against him because of what started either last night or this morning. They were excited about the opportunity to compete today. And I think they've been that way about every game, to be honest with you. The problem is if you have lulls creep in, you'll get exposed. Because to me, I can reflect back. I mean, Asheville's a lot better. They're good. They threw a lot of strikes against us. East Tennessee State's always played very well against us. If you have those lulls, you'll get exposed. But our group is talented enough. If they come with the approach they had at the park today, where there's this stuff we've been dying for, this extra leadership, extra communication, guys coming to me forward with things, just communicating, and so we let them kind of run with it a little bit. Just some things that are positive in the hallways. Then I think the percentages will tilt in our favor a little bit.
Why do you think you've gotten that extra communication with this group?
I think some hard lessons learned, maybe in the past, but also there were some winning teams last year in the end, the postseason, where you guys might hit on this or this, but in the office we're like, man, the core of that team is guys who have learned hard lessons and good lessons and kind of formulated the deal. Anyway, that's a personal tangent we've talked about up there. For our team in particular, you got a guy like Blake Burke and Christian Moore that watch Trey Lipscomb every day. They know exactly what to do. Whether they want to do it or not is up to them. And so if they take responsibility, and there's others too, Cal, Chuck, if they take ownership for what they need to do and handle their business, then they can move on to the next best thing, is make sure the other guys are doing that too. And guys like KT and Hunter Ensley, I think, saw what works and what doesn't work the last 2 or 3 years. And so they want this year to be a good year, and they're kind of pressing the button that they should be.
How would you assess Steve's performance out there on the mound?
It was good. I mean, I think just at the start, I don't know if you would ask about Combsy, but that top of the order is a mess if you're a pitcher. You got a kid who's from the state of Tennessee, and Jones, who's a really good player, and he's got a lot of experience and can really run. And so he just stayed on a breaking ball against Combsy, and then you got one of the most electric players in the country. And then what I kept saying in the office, and I'm not knocking Culpepper, he's going to get his money this summer, but the guy after him might be more dangerous. And so that guy comes through with a laser with 2 RBIs. So the fact that, Snead could keep it together and kind of get through those guys, and again, Combs could keep it together, and you could even say Loy, who's a freshman. I mean, it's tough to kind of end the game in that situation. Kind of keep it together was something that might get lost in the score, that all 3 guys kind of battled through. But because Snead had a little more success, he kind of won that race between he and Combs. We were trying to build both those guys' pitch count to about 60 pitches. And, Combs kind of ran through some pitches quicker than Snead did. And, both of them pieced it together for us and did a nice job.
How good was it to get Ariel out there, and what is he kind of able to do and not do?
Yeah, he can't swing at all. So we wouldn't have him base run either because he could potentially injure that thing. And it's, basically full use on defense. And I just don't want to put him in a position where he's asked to play defense with the game on the line because he's such a good defender. We may use him in that situation, and it's his first go-around. Now, he's not a kid who gets nervous, but also a little bit of it was, even though the kid's a goofball, he probably loves being out there as much as anybody, and the guys love him. So we kind of saw it as a reward. Trust me, we're trying to win the game, and he's a good shortstop, but kind of a cool thing for the team that they came together again, came to the park with a great approach today, and because they played that well, I think it was one thing that helped him get in the game. But he's also going to be in the game defensively with the money on the line, so to speak.
Tony, you talked about things that maybe get lost in the shuffle. What about Inslee hitting the ball hard a couple times today, kind of getting some things going and kind of starting to bring those numbers up a little bit?
And a 2-strike hit by pitch. I was standing there because I was just trying to get on base, but I don't know that many guys don't move their feet with just the way that the kid throws, with Owen throwing the ball the way that he does. But Inslee stayed in there and got the thing going early, too, with the hit by pitch. So, he's really what we want in center field. Great communicator, not afraid of the wall, can do all things well out there. And then at the plate, we talked last time we were in here just about fighting. And he kind of fought his way on and, kind of tomahawked the one pitch for the ball to right center. So it was good for him to get that whole rally going there.
What was your reaction to Billy and Christian's homers? They were pretty good off the bat.
Yeah, Billy's was crazy. Just that he stayed to the ball, whereas that's normally one the average hitter pulls off. But just extra staying to the ball means you kind of usually lace it like he did towards the first baseman. To hit it that high and that far is a tribute, to how strong he is and how much bat speed he has. And he's a big guy. That was the first thing when I met Todd Helton, he's just a big dude. And Jermaine Dye was at the park today. Some of our guys had to get educated on who he is. So they definitely need to know who he is. That's a big guy. And Billy's just a big person, and he's really made himself into a strong guy. And Simo's kind of always been that. But, the home runs are great. To me, I love Blake Burke's at bat more than anything. The fact he's now kind of copying Kavares' tiers and, going from one foul pole to the other is pretty dangerous. And I know he went home. That second at bat was probably his favorite and my favorite. Thank you to the fans that stuck it out in the rain. I thought we'd have a huge crowd tonight, but weather wasn't good. And we got one guy in there that's chirping at one of our players, which is rare. That's not rare in the SEC, but it's rare here. And I heard it, and Blake heard it too. And that guy probably helped Blake in his next at-bat. Not that we wanted him to, but he took that motivation into that second AB and drove that thing into left field for good reason. I've never seen that guy before, so I don't think he's a loyal fan. Not worried about that. I saw him over there sipping on his beer, and I can't do it now in Knoxville anymore, but I've been to a bar or two, and that ain't a guy I'd hang out with and have a beverage with.
One or two more guys.
Kind of on that note, this might be a dumb question, but I think Dean's got 8 hits, 6 home runs, a triple, 1 single. Any specific reason for that? I know you'll take the good ABs, but
Yeah, no, I think his approach in BP is really polished, and it's kind of a pro approach where he's looking to backspin the ball, and for the balls that he's made contact with, if he does backspin it, it comes off differently than it would for, we could pick out another hitter. It's really a different level of strength that helps him get that carry on that ball. He's hit some low line drives that'll go out of the park, even to dead center. So it'll even out, and he'll probably have, a little bit more of a regular or natural balance to his numbers. I think the one crazy thing for him is he's put up good numbers so far, and he doesn't even have as many at-bats as others because of, having some soreness.
What about Dryland's homer? Obviously, kind of turned the tide there to the deepest part of the ballpark the opposite way.
Yeah, we do have a little bit of a challenge making out the lineup every day, and you get to the fact that we're playing a team from Kansas, and Dylan's from Kansas. It's kind of like, well, you got to at least have him out there, even though, Bomer's throwing from way over here, and it worked out in our favor. But the first two, I brought up the sour thoughts about Burke's first at-bat and KT's first at-bat. Those guys didn't look good, and I wouldn't want to stand in there left-handed against that guy. So the fact he followed that up and then hit it to the deepest part of the park is pretty wild. So he's a guy that's pretty explosive and kind of seems to have a flair for the dramatic too. I don't know if that's because he kind of seems to be pretty stoic and doesn't get nervous, or maybe he's a guy who gets excited about things and just doesn't wear them on his sleeve as much as some of the other guys we've had. But we're blessed to have him because he can do it at any moment.